This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, a silent German horror film from 1920 directed by Robert Wiene. Being told primarily through flashbacks, the story follows the strange tale of a man named Francis, his love interest Jane, the mysterious visitor to their town named Caligari, and the sleepwalking zombie under his control named Cesare. As a string of violent murders and crimes begins to plague the town, Francis begins to suspect that Caligari may have a hand in things, setting off a chain of events which brings Caligari's identity, motives, and his sanity entirely into question. The premise is interesting enough, but the movie puts more time into developing the story and its world than bringing on any true horror. Even when it does get to traditional horror elements, it shows them off slowly and plainly, foregoing any atmospheric presentation in favor of just making it all happen. What's probably just as bad is that the characters aren't developed all too well either, pretty much fulfilling basic roles to push things along. It's actually kind of funny how so much time is put into the setup, but doesn't return on an equal amount of payoff through the horror. There's at least some sign of creative effort, most of all in what may be the first twist ending ever used in a movie. Even so, it ends the film without explaining itself, or even making any strong connections to the preceding story, which will either make it feel like a cop-out, or make you feel like you've wasted your time. Overall, it just seems more like a set of ideas strung together by a loose narrative than a more fleshed-out story. In any case, I think that anybody who's seen the movie before knows that the most attention seems to be given to the artistic design. It's made with expressionistic ideas in mind, and it shows in just about every inch of the set pieces. They're pretty sparse and simply constructed, but the actual visual design gives them hard angles and painted shadows, with an appearance of impossible or impractical construction in buildings and streets, and even within the actual perspective of the landscape. It makes for a highly stylized film, setting it apart from most, if not any, other film of its time, and even to this day. There are a few points where the design choices border on confusing and inconsistent, even for its abstract nature, but it's still easy enough to identify whatever's going on. Either way, it almost seems as if it was made to give the movie a talking point, since the weaker story and plot construction just wouldn't be enough. It really does seem to be the only major draw, not only because of the lackluster story, but also because of the general absence of other technical elements, it being the silent era and all. That all said, I do understand that the movie has a place in film history, not only because of its stylistic design, but for its influence and legacy even decades afterwards. But personally, I feel like it's a status that it only just barely qualifies for. But that's just me. I'm not an authority. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Robert Wiene, 1920. 2 stars. Despite its flaws, I'd say that it's still worth seeing, mostly because its merits outweigh those flaws. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I could probably redecorate this place to make it look more like this movie. First, I'm gonna need a lot of black paint for the shadows.